cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
Do you ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Oh, great. Thanks, Mother, for replacing the baby aspirin with LSD.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
All right, welcome in, oh my chicken littles, to The Sky is Falling after one game of the season to the View from C-Deck as we get ready to review the Indiana game, disaster in some people's minds from this past Saturday, and preview Youngstown State. But I am just Matt, and this is Dyerwolf. And Casey, how were you thinking there Saturday, watching them just struggle? It reminded me of just back to the Tressel days, early season, watching the offense just kind of sputter around, but the defense was great, and we ended up with a good result.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of the Tressel days, but Tressel didn't have the arguably top two receivers in the whole country. He had really good receivers at times, but that's just not what his game plan was around. So it was very odd. There were a couple of things I was expecting. Some of them happened, some of them didn't. I was not shocked that the quarterback, like Mccord, didn't go out there and throw for 5 touchdowns and 350 yards. I was not expecting that at all. But I was expecting him to play a little bit better. But that's kind of middle of the road as far as disappointment or whatever for that game. The O-line, the biggest concern there for sure.
The O-line was getting ready to have an aneurysm, man. I was ready to shatter my TV watching. Like, I played linebacker in high school. I was pretty good. I was an all-conference linebacker. I wasn't like a stud here that's going to a 5-star school or whatever. I'd have made those plays. Those were wide open gaps that nobody was in. I mean, it would have scared me. The gaps were so open for me to shoot. Like, okay, where's the trap block coming? Except for they're running the zone blocking scheme, so I know it's not coming.
The thing that was most surprising was I thought Donovan Jackson was going to be like one of the better O-linemen this year. I mean, and then you look and he's like, they're double teaming somebody that they don't need to, and then there's just an open runner.
Well, we'll start with the O-line here. That I can think can easily be written off to O-line is a position of trust. And really, all of football are positions of trust. You got to trust that the guy next to you is going to be and do what he says he's supposed to do, like within the system, within the scheme of the play. Or like if you're a quarterback, you got to have confidence that like Marvin's going to go get the ball if you just throw it up to him. Like that type of thing. Well, you're O-line, you got to know that the guy next to you is going to make his block. But if you can't, and you know he can't, maybe sometimes you're like, okay, I'm going to try and help him extra and just hope that this guy doesn't do this. And I think that, I mean, both sides of him, the center and the left tackle, are new guys. And both of them didn't have great games either. Hensman and obviously Simmons is catching most of the wrath, and deservedly so, even though he didn't grade out as poorly as Jackson. So I'm wondering if Jackson's trying to do too much out there within the zone scheme. But the zone scheme's all combo blocking and then breaking off when you're supposed to break off. And that's the problem we had. We weren't breaking off. Therefore, these huge gaps we're making because we're double teaming doesn't matter because the linebacker's coming in untouched like a freaking missile.
Yeah, and if that is the main issue, then that's definitely fixable, right? Like, right. The coach get in there and say, you do your job, don't worry about him. Maybe he will every once in a while, but you're right. If that's, hopefully that is the case. And the thing that I found surprising was if I were to grade every position group on different aspects, it's like pass pro, I'd say they were more like a D plus, but run blocking, it was a straight F.
They graded out decent on the pass pro according to like the PFF experts or whatever, and he did. I mean, McCord had to run a few times, but he didn't get sacked once. Yeah. So it's not like they played terrible in that, and it's not like they were getting totally physically whipped. Simmons did a couple times, which is why I'm most worried about him. But overall, their pass pro was pretty decent. Yeah. Right there. The run blocking was just F minus. Like, I mean, that was high school mistakes getting made out there.
the one shining light, which maybe I'm just used to the last couple of years, but there were 0 false starts, 0 delay games, 0 sacks. I mean, that's something to build from, I guess. Like, it was all bad offensive line for the most part, but They didn't make any like just stupid mistakes as far as unwarranted false starts, and they didn't give up any sacks.
No.
And their games.
I don't think they had a holding not on the O-line. It was on Stover, but can't really hold if you're not blocking anybody either.
Well, yeah.
Also, there's one play in particular. We'll move off the O-line after this. One play in particular, I remember CBS. I have a lot of bones to pick with you. Putting Gary freaking Danielson on our call, and he and Nessler both have already lost their fastball. They're like already at that stage where they mess up players' names. They don't know what's going on all the time. There's a play where it was one of our better runs, I think, with Mayan, and it may have been with Chip. We go left side, and they're talking about how Simmons is pulling out. It's like, let's see what 71 does here. We end up having like a 15-yard gain. Let's see what 71 does here. He gets out there, and Simmons gets out there, and there's nobody for him to block, at least not like within the point of attack. So then he kind of turns backwards, and then here comes the running back coming forward, and here comes a corner up. And they're like, there was no for him to block. I'm like, yes, there was. This guy that just came up and made the freaking tackle. Why did he go backwards when there's a guy in front of him? And that's the type of stuff that concerns me greatly, because that's just instincts of who to block. And he doesn't seem to have it, at least not out in the run game, which if you don't block at the second level, you're never going to have big runs.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to lead into the run game, those are some of my boxes I was like looking for, right? Like obviously quarterback battle, which that was up and down. We can touch on that later. The O-line completely failed my test of what I wanted to see. And then I expected a dominant run game, but with how bad the O-line is,
right,
what can you expect? And honestly, with how bad they were, it was actually not a bad running game.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll do the running game before the quarterback, because I'm more worried about them maybe than I am the quarterback. I mean, quarterback is what it is, I feel like. Yeah. The running game, Travion, again, I've heard the comparisons, and I mean, we were all over him last year, and I gave him kind of a pass once we learned to have the hurt foot, but I've said this for a long time, since that 2021 Penn State game, where the first time he really got rocked in college. It seems like his vision has just disappeared. His patience, like he's not patient, or he's too patient. Like he doesn't seem to, get that rhythm of like, this is when I should go and this is when I should wait. And a lot of times, he'll dance around too much in the backfield and get stuffed. I mean, he got stuffed. Remember in 2013, Carlos Hyde had one negative run the entire season. He had 3 in the first quarter. Travion did. Like, we can't have that. And it's not all his fault, because like I said, there's wide open gaps and the linebackers are being super aggressive and just shooting right through. But, eventually you just got to learn to bust, like you see the whole hit hole. And other times he'll be going out wide, and it's like, instead of just taking it all the way wide, he'll just decide, no, now I'm putting my foot in the ground and going straight forward and just like doing one of these and not even like trying to make any moves. And he's too athletic to be doing that.
But it's funny, like we were texting back and forth, and he started out, I thought, he looked pretty damn good.
Oh, the first series was great for all around, but I think we caught them off guard.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it was more of that dancing, and then Chip Trainum came in. I was shocked that he was the second running back come in, but that dude looked freaking great.
He did. He's like Teague. So I've compared him to Master Teague. He's straight line bull, but he has the jump cut, so he can make the jump cut, which Teague couldn't do at all. And then it's like Teague. Once he makes that one cut, he's just trying to be faster and stronger than you are, which he is for a lot of guys. So I mean, Teague was effective too, so he can be very effective. Yeah. And if he ends up starting over Travion at some point this year, I will not be shocked after what we've seen for the last year plus of Travion, really.
Yeah, which that would be so disappointing with how he was rated coming out of high school.
Oh, he's got the skills. Like he looked good. Like his feet were moving well, I thought. Like his cuts, he looked fast again. But you got to have vision, and you got to have blocking too. That's part of it. Okay, now we can move to the quarterback, though, because it's going to tie into everything else. Like we all said, or I said, and you said too, don't trust Day, what he says. And once we figured out that McCord was actually the quarterback, I thought, and you and I were talking about this on the phone, I was like, at 3 or 4 possessions, and then they'll put in Brown for 1 and see what happens. There's 3 possessions. Obviously, the second possession is a 3 and out, and the third possession ends in a pick. The pick wasn't that bad. Nobody should be getting on him for that. It's 4th down. the play got blown up a little bit, the first option, then so they just had to make a. I mean, you can't whether you take a sack, like same result pretty much.
Yeah. You risked maybe a pick six, but
right. But then because he goes through the pick and gets benched for a second for Brown, but then they don't even run a pass play for Brown.
That's what was. I couldn't believe it. Like, you tout this guy that they're neck and neck, but you don't even trust him to throw the damn ball. Like, what?
Doesn't. I mean, but they weren't neck and neck. That's the point. Is pretty much you can tell by the way the game was played and called that they weren't neck and neck, and he doesn't trust Brown fully yet with the offense, which fine.
I think it just came down to it was 10-3, and at a certain point, which good and bad, I guess, but at a certain point, they in these games is like we just need to win the damn game.
Yeah.
And if he kept switching it up, and they went 3 and out, he couldn't afford another 3 and out. So
here's another tell though that this is McCord's offense and McCord's team. What did we do all game that we haven't done since Tressel was here?
Yeah, under center there.
We're
right?
under center. That's for a straight drop back passing quarterback. That's not for the athletic guy. So I think that's totally like they are planning on McCord playing most of the time because you can't. And what I've said, I mean, Dave's smarter than me about football, so he figured out too. You can't run out of the spread unless you have a completely dominant O-line or an athletic quarterback, and hopefully both. But they don't have either. So you got to go to get some downhill runs going.
But to contradict that a little bit, it was just so strange that how many deep balls did we throw the entire game? 2?
I
mean, one to Fleming that he could have caught, but it was to the wrong shoulder, but he would have.
It's to the wrong receiver. Because Fleming's not a deep ball. He doesn't track the ball well.
Marvin or Ibuka or even Tate would have caught it, even though Tate did drop one. And then the one that Marvin went out of bounds. Those are the only 2 deep balls.
3.
And then
the passing interference that Marvin drew that was a little bit underthrown. Yeah,
that's right. Dover wasn't a deep ball, but that was probably the longest. That was definitely the longest completion.
49-yard completion, over the middle. That was a great throw by him. Good anticipation, good touch, right where it needed to be. He had made a couple good throws when he scrambled that one and threw it was like a 7-yard gain on and out, but he had to scramble to his left and then throw a dart, which he was able to do. That was a very nice play, like underrated by him. There's a lot of positives I saw, not a lot, I guess, but there weren't that many negatives. He was checking down too fast, though. Marv got open a couple times deep, but he had already decided I'm going to Fleming and Stover, great. When Emeka and Marv have a combined 34 yards, not acceptable. And part of it, they weren't out there making plays.
How many times, though, last year did we see you get an 8 or 9 yard run on first down, play action, bomb? It happened like freaking clockwork. It never happened this game. I mean, and we had a couple that were 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2.
Well,
and this is perfect. We're doing it, and nope, we'll just run it up the gut and lose a yard.
Play calling was bad in general. Yeah. I'm with you. And 2 for 12 on third down shows that. We actually got outplayed on third down, even though IU's offense did nothing. They were at least 5 for 15, I think, on third down, and we were 2 for 12, which is pathetic. And 7 of those 12 third downs were 4 yards or less. So we were just pathetic in short yardage third down situations. And remember last year, I always thought if we was 3rd and 7 or less, we were getting it because Stroud was money on third downs. And now I'm like, I don't know. We can't go 2 for 12 on third down. Like, we're going to lose games, like several of them, if we do play third down like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. And, I mean, if our line blocks like that, we're going to lose several games.
Oh, we're going to lose in South Bend if our line blocks like that, like, no doubt.
I mentioned to you before, though, like, I go back to 14, how bad that O-line looked against Vol Tech when we lost. And everybody, we all thought we were going to lose 4 games at least. With the quarterback, how we looked terrible, and then they just grew and got better and better and better. And that's just, I'm not panicking yet because it's the first game, and especially new quarterback. I sent you those stats about Fields against Florida Atlantic. We only won 45-21 at home.
Well, remember that game was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then we took the foot off the gas and got a little discombobulated, I think.
But it's Florida Atlantic, and this is a Big Ten opponent on the road. We don't know how good they are. I mean, their offense sucks. Their quarterbacks are terrible.
That Florida Atlantic team went like 9-3. They weren't bad. That was all three teams we played that year won their conference championship in non-conference.
And
Florida Atlantic, UC, and played for it. So UC lost their championship game. Miami, Ohio won the MAC that year too, and we smashed all of them to smithereens. But yeah, I'm not drawing too many conclusions. I'm not panicking yet because a lot of this is what the problems we pointed out in our preview. Like the things I was worried about are what came to fruition. So I'm not like panicking about it because I thought it would take work and I saw enough, like you said, especially from Mccord, that I'm like, it could be okay.
Yeah. O-line,
I'm a little more like, it might not be okay, but we'll see. I'm not right. It does take time to gel, and they're new. 3 new guys at the most important positions. But the defense, on the other hand, they look pretty good. Not exactly what we wanted to see with the sacks, but that's also because IU played the triple option offense kind of out of nowhere. Seemed to be playing not to lose. Very, very, very conservative. Like they were just trying to keep the score down, right? Like how conservative they were being. They're running draws on 3rd and 10. Like
the way the new rule is hurt us. They were running the clock down too.
Mm-hmm.
Just seemed like we never had the damn ball. But I also think it's kind of just how whoever wants to technically give the stat, because there was like at least 2 times that we technically didn't get a sack where we tackled the freaking quarterback behind the line of scrimmage, but it was because
designed run.
He was a run.
Yeah.
But one of them was not a designed run. He decided to run after nobody was open, and then it didn't go down as a sack. Maybe it was like on the line of scrimmage or something.
I think so. I think he got made to the line of scrimmage.
Because I counted like 3 that should have been sacks. But
I had the 2 because I know the one you're talking about with that Caden McDonald had that looked like a sack until they showed the replay. I'm like, oh yeah, it was a power. It was just really poorly executed power.
And then JT, I thought he had a sack. Maybe that was just tackle for loss in the freaking quarter.
He did get he got a half tackle for loss. Nobody had great stats. There's only 1 sack in the game, and it's back up here, Canoe. But they played really solid. Only 153 yards given up. Damn, that's pretty good.
I said that it less yards than we gave up to anybody all of last year.
Right, and it looked good too. You can see the difference with the athleticism and the safeties. Proctor, I think he's going to blow some plays still because he still takes bad angles and comes in too high. Like the one tackle, the huge one he made when he basically clotheslined the kid, he's way too high. Like he's lucky just that there was a small running back and he was able to just one arm him. But
Burke looked.
He's super athletic compared to what we have out there last year. And then obviously Sonny Styles is just a man amongst boys. He is that guy. They couldn't get the edge because of him. No matter, he could take the pitch and the quarterback with the triple options. He's taking it away. He tackled well.
I'd love seeing him
break
up. Hit a couple deep balls. The PBUs for him last year.
Burke?
Yeah.
I was about to go ahead. Yeah.
Last year, those were PIs. I'm like holding my breath, I don't think you're not necessarily going to catch this, but you're going to get a flag on it most of the time. And he played it perfectly twice.
No, he did. He was sticky. He had two PBUs, and they both were slick little, just like that. Flipped his arm in, like I'm doing to nobody now. But overall, you can't glean a ton from it, except for that they were played good assignment football, and they look more athletic as a team. I don't think the D-line played as well as I was hoping to see. They weren't like wreaking havoc up there, I didn't think. But you have to play very disciplined football against that style. You got to just stay in your gap and tackle the dive every time, even if it's not really there.
And they didn't see it on film at all, so they were just like kind of taken off guard and still really well for it.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see more this week against a more traditional opponent. So, my concerns, I'd say on offense, it's went up. Duh. But that was more, I thought it would be low scoring. We both pounded the under and nailed it. But the concern is higher because I'm not sure the O-line can gel in time, I guess is what I'm worried about. And if they do, I'm not even sure what it looks like because I'm not sure Simmons is actually good at left tackle at all. He's never been rated highly. Like I said, I saw some things that make me think he just isn't football isn't totally a game of athleticism and strength. It is a game, like, you're just good at football sometimes. And part of that is just have a natural instinct of where to go, when to go there. And I don't see it with him, especially like that downfield block I was talking about where he peeled backwards. Like, why the hell? What are you going to do? Do you think you're going to Travion's going to be past you by the time you peel back anyway?
Yeah. My concern is definitely higher than it was to start the year. And the biggest concern to me is just like, we're not going to learn shit. For sure next week, we're not going to know. I mean, if we scored 60 points, sure, that's not, but it's an FCS opponent.
So is everybody else lately. Moving on to Youngstown State. If you saw like Oregon's game and I believe Ole Miss, they both won by like 60-plus points and scored 73 and 81 respectively, which is ridiculous against FCS opponents. But that's kind of where we're at now with these. Everybody's got a good quarterback now because of the transfer portal, and everybody's trying to look good early. We need to this week against Youngstown State, who were 52-10 winners last week against Valpo, though it was 17-10 at halftime, and then they blocked a punt to start the second half, at least from the box score is what I saw, and kind of started everything from there. Different type of opponent, though. They're definitely a running team, and they're a pretty big O-line for an FCS team. They're about 6'5", 300 on average. So not like we're playing scrubs, but, they're 6'5", 300 guys who couldn't make it to the FBS level, so take with that what you will. Should be they definitely rely on the run game, though, which isn't going to work against us, I don't think, unless you're an absolute studs up front. So it should be a pretty easy day defensively again. Offensively, you want to see a lot, just improvement from the O-line is all I want to see. There's not much to talk about Youngstown in general. They don't match up. They're not 0% chance they win this game.
No, we should be getting a lot of possessions. I'm thinking that shutout is definitely on the table. Like you said, O-line is the number one thing I want to see. I want to see a ton of running yards, maybe get 4 running backs in there. Definitely get Brown in there for meaningful time. I mean, that game we were never going to lose, but I understand why he wanted to get McCord into some rhythm, but this game should be over by halftime. So hopefully Brown actually.
Well, we've seen Ryan Day in games that are over at halftime, and here comes Justin Fields. Here comes C.J. Stroud again. Like,
we're regretting that now, and
I agree.
His lesson.
That's a big point. It's an underrated. It's a big point that for years now we've watched him refuse to put in backups and then run the actual offense, even when they do get in. Like, McCord never passed when he actually got in last year.
But he got away with it because we've had freaking studs every single year.
Yeah.
Like, first round pick caliber. And I don't know, maybe McCord is, maybe he isn't, but he sure doesn't seem to have the raw talent that those guys did.
I don't see a first round pick out of him, just the way he throws. There's some mechanics issues and maybe some arm strength. I mean, he throws a pretty ball, but it doesn't come out clean. You know what I mean? But anyway, I mean, after watching all these, we actually are some authorities on first round picks now since we watched them for 3 straight quarterbacks, and this doesn't look the same. Penn State's does, but I'll digress. Yeah, I also want to see McCord get more aggressive, though, because he was way too quickly going down in the second. He didn't seem to have any confidence in throwing outside the numbers either. Everything was over the middle, which is why 11 catches between Stover and and Fleming, but only 5 catches between Emeka and Marv. Yeah. Was he 5? Yeah, but it was like 34 yards total, like ridiculously.
I don't even know 5 did they? Marvin.
2 for 18 for Marvin, and I think 3 for 16 for Emeka.
I knew Marvin only had 2. He should have had 3. He got PI on 1 too.
Yeah, should have had 3. Also, that McCord missed him on that 1 out pattern. That would have been a touchdown, but it wasn't a great route by Marvin either. He was kind of fading away.
Yeah.
It was a bad throw. It was behind him. But I just want to see him take shot. This is the game to do it. If there's a game on the schedule, this is the game to do it. Take your shots. Get your confidence in yourself. Throwing the ball outside the numbers. Don't take the quick throw over the middle all the time. That's kind of the easy throw, because those throws, if that's all you can do, teams are going to know that. They're just it's going to be like John Kitna was with the Bengals, where here comes everybody up all the time. Then, so they're not worried about you going deep, and they're not worried about you throwing out the hash. So they don't have to hover over Marv there with the extra safety, and then the running game the problems get exacerbated at that point.
It's just a snowball, man.
Yeah. Prediction, I guess, for Youngstown this week. It's not going to be on the board because it's an FCS game.
So there's no spread, so I was just thinking, should we make our own spread? Minus 45.
Yeah, we can. What'd you say?
45?
I was thinking 43. I don't know why. It just sounded right.
I'm hoping we score 50. But
yeah, I would maybe take.
If we score 30-something, my panic, the panic is going to be real.
Yeah, we could, though. We very well could.
We could.
It's really bad. There's a lot of problems there. But I think Dave he was being very conservative. I think he'll let it loose a little more. I'd say we cover because I don't think they score against us. If they score, I'll be kind of surprised. So 45-0 is what I'll go with. So I'm going to be right on your number.
I'll say 40. Couple of field.
Yeah. Wish we could gamble this week. Last week killed me. Travion killed me. I was with you, and that was just a killer.
That 1,000 yards is not looking pretty now.
No, it's not looking great at the moment. All right. Well, that was almost forgot. Not that this should even be much of a debate here. How do you feel about our national championship hopes after this week?
They definitely went down. But we're 1-0, and our biggest competition this year didn't look much better than we did, to be honest with you. They had a worse opponent at home and only won by an extra touchdown. So
yeah, but it was 30-0 with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, and didn't
score again.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. It was on Peacock, and I have Peacock. I'm not turning it on though for that game, and missing all the other games. I was watching Dion.
But I guess I'm just saying, yeah, they were up big and probably took their foot off, but they got a established quarterback. They're at home. They have the best offensive line in the country, most people think, and they 30-3.
They screwed me too on a 6-game parlay. They screwed me.
Yeah,
it was not a good gambling weekend for me, Casey. Let's not talk about it.
I might take a break since our game doesn't even have a spread.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week, though. Thanks for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys later.
Hey, guys. Whoa, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but the